I'm steady chasing paper, praying for them better days. I work my 9 to 5, yet still.
Let's do it.
All right, hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a couple guests that we invited to join us to have a little bit of a discussion. So we're doing a little sit and tea tonight. So we have a couple things that we wanted to conversate about, and we wanted you to get multiple perspectives on the topics that we're going to be discussing. So I have my friend here, Greg. I have my friend here, Rocco, and I also have my partner, Chris, in the end, on the bottom screen here. So tonight we just wanted to let you guys get a little preview of what we talk about just as friends. This is how we normally go about our conversations, but we just wanted to kind of give you a little bit more insight on multiple different perspectives, because that's how you gain knowledge. You gain knowledge by gathering information by multiple people, multiple cultures, different genders. You never know. Knowledge comes in all forms. All right?
Facts, yeah.
All right.
What's the first subject?
So let's kick it off with a little bit of tea. So we had, my real big concern today is when I woke up this morning and I put on the news, the first thing that I seen was our vice president out talking about the impact that the youth is having because they do not want to wear masks. And then along those lines, we have, yes, there's a lot of young kids, not children, but you know, college age or teenagers. They're out there not wearing masks, putting lives at risk. And so they addressed everyone and just kind of wanted to highlight those points. And then also there are several conversations out there and several protests and things like that about not wearing masks. Again, and it's against your constitutional right as an American. So I just wanted to hear some of you guys' thoughts on that.
Just split it up.
Who want to go first?
Just split
I'll
it
take
up.
that.
Put the mask on. Put the mask on.
So I sent you guys a video of those people in Palm Springs after they announced, you know, the mandated like face masks and everything like that. And I mean, I'm all for people having their own opinion and I respect the way they feel, but at least come with at least some kind of informed backing with that, like not just because
like a valid argument.
What to do, yeah.
Correct.
Like, I feel like a lot of the argument is I don't want to be told what to do. You know, you can't tell me what to do, and it's against my right to be told what to wear or not to wear, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know.
To me, it discounts all of the people with pre-existing conditions out here. A lot of as a young person, you would never even think about that part, right? Like as a young person, think about people that have pre-existing conditions. Well, you're not everyone, right?
I know, but you just generalize young people.
But most people,
but young people do generally tend to think together.
So we're not saying all young people, and that's not my intention.
I'm just saying older people.
Well, from the statistics, it's the younger kids out here not wearing the mask only because they are like, I just want to go out. It's a lot of people they were saying in the clubs that are out.
Because all people, I mean, it's all, you know, gay age ranges that aren't wearing masks. There's old people walking down the street that's not wearing a mask, you know?
Yeah.
That's true. So let's not.
We're protesting were older folk. It wasn't like the younger people. I feel like younger people just have like oblivious to it, but I think older people have that like, I'm not going to do it just because.
Yeah.
Right.
Critical in a sense now.
There's no valid argument there.
I heard a conversation earlier today talking about how college students returning to college, you know, is going to be a weird thing, you know, in this age of COVID and social distancing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, the whole college experience is sold in certain ways where it's about socializing, it's about meeting new people, it's about going to house parties, stuff like that.
Right.
They asked one kid, it's like, do you envision going to a house party and everyone wearing face masks? And he just kind of laughed. And they also take a chance to point out the fact that even at that young age, though an adult, the brain is still developing. And there is a certain miscalculation of risk analysis that may be adding into this aversion to masks and stuff like that.
Exactly. And I'm totally with you. And I don't mean to generalize or put the young people in a box. It's just more of, that's what was addressed on.
This was in the video.
Well, I mean, of course, they want to address the youth because the youth is the most important. They have the most, you know, their voice and, you know, their actions, you know, because they're stepping into the next, you know, the next group. You know, it's like what they're doing now will affect the kids that are walking around here right now, you know, versus the older people. They have lived their lives, you know. So, oh man, if you feel like I don't want to wear a mask, I'm not gonna wear a mask. I'm gonna die anyway. I'm 70 years old, you know, not taking into account the other people around them, but, you know.
And it's unfortunate that, I mean, as a young person, some people think that way. And that boils down to another topic that we'll discuss later. Do you feel that even us scaling back on what's going on, like in opening up things in your community?
Started with that. Like that was my main thing that's been going through my head like these past like maybe 3 or 4 days with the whole like protests and everything.
Oh, the mask thing.
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, what I wanted to get in there too is a lot of it stems for a disbelief in science as well. That there's been a
of course, yeah.
For a long time challenging.
Hey, look at the history of science and what these doctors are doing. They're not helping us out. They're not doing anything to really, you know, heal us. They're not healing us. Yeah, you know, a lot of this stuff. I mean, I mean, my opinion. I don't mean to cut you off. So go ahead, and I'll speak after you. So go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to point out the fact that during that Palm Beach meeting, you had a woman out there yelling at the doctor, you know, telling her she questions her credentials. And, what?
Yeah. Like, who are you to question her intention?
Yes.
And what makes you think your point is valid than somebody who spent over 10 years of their lives studying and learning to become somebody to save and be a productive member of society and save other people's lives? And that's what their passion was, to spend that much time in school and not have passion for that topic. That's a hard task. That's a hard task there.
Bottom line is they have the knowledge and you don't. Like that's the thing. You're a doctor. And you feel like you know better than that. And she totally like said like you need to go back to school, like check your credentials. I was like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
Like how dare you? How dare you? And she's the one out here saving people's lives
on the front line.
On the front lines. You're not there. You don't even know. You've never even been in that job. So how do you know what's going on or how she feels?
Right.
Or her knowledge base. Just it takes it back to, you know, my viewers. Takes it back to a conversation that I was talking about. How people want to know who you are at face value before they even open their mouth. They want you to know how they think, their opinions, because they might get offended by something that you say. Even though
even that.
You have no idea how they think or what they think on the situation. And instead of having a conversation with that other person, you do the opposite. Because you're offended. And that's not.
And there's no discussion behind it.
That's not the way to become a
But that's what I'm saying. The judgment is already happening. It's already happened. It's gonna happen before you even open your mouth. That's the problem right there.
Yeah. Rocco, what do you think?
No, that's funny because actually last night one of my friends on Facebook had posted something kind of offensive, and one of his friends was critical of it and screenshotted this certain Lucky Charms meme talking about the Irish were enslaved for so many years, but you don't see them being the Lucky Charms logo or some you know. And so I made a comment about how it's interesting how this Irish people. I'm sorry, I should preface that. Earlier in the day as well, I had saw another post about specifically Irish enslavement, post about Irish enslavement and trying to compare it to, you know, black in America and stuff like that. So to this guy's point, I was agreeing with him, and then I was also saying I find it interesting
downstairs.
this whole idea of
The
Irish
one on the
slavery
stairs.
is trying to be
Yeah, just close that one because Angel's
it's a
loud.
change.
She see me.
And what I was agreeing with then went off on me, like I had attacked him. And it was not a criticism of anything he was saying, but he made personal attacks and just general defensive. And I responded by trying to inquire, like, yo, relax. Like, I was trying to agree with you. I wasn't trying to insult you or distort anything that you were saying. You know, maybe there's a misunderstanding. Is there something I didn't understand about your post? And again, he goes on the attack. It's like, that's right, you didn't understand. Woo, woo, woo. And it's like, man, like, I'm trying to have a conversation here, and you just want to argue. Like,
and it's people like that make it why it's very seldom that I even have conversations with people like that because of that, the misinterpretation. It happens so often. It happens more often than it should, you know, to the point where it's not even worth interacting with people, you know. And that's sad. That's a sad statement. It's crazy.
A lot of people aren't capable. Yeah, a lot of people aren't capable of having a conversation or a debate without being offended. So that's where it boils down to. Like, that's a basic fact. It's not even on the topic or the subject that you guys were speaking about. It's more of just that person cannot see outside of their own thoughts in their head. They have no room for anything beyond what they've stuffed in there. Maybe they don't have any more space. Not my problem. But there's also the factor that people, when offended, are argumentative. They're not capable of seeing just beyond their own thoughts.
I'm right, you're wrong at that point.
Exactly.
Basically.
You're wrong. And I understand there's been so many different cultures that have been what do you say? It's genocide, but that have been eliminated by the white culture. So I understand that. We've all had just terrible offenses against our people, against just cultures, everything, religion, all of that. So there's a huge factor. So everybody is allowed to be angry, but you can't get mad at how someone else is angry, how someone else perceives it, and that's something that took me a long time to learn. Well,
I just came back and looked interesting.
So what happened was Rocco was out. He had a friend talk about the Irish and how the Irish were slaves for so long that you don't hear them arguing and being bitches about it, basically. And, you know, Rocco gave his 2 cents, and the person was offended, and they just kind of went back and forth. But of course, he's argumentative, didn't want to have a discussion. He just wanted to hear himself speak, I'm sure.
even though I was agreeing with it, that's what was, I was dumbfounded by. I was like, I'm agreeing with you. Like, I don't understand why there's conflict. And so this happens in conversations.
People just like to argue.
Opposing, well, I think what happens during these discussions is that you have these opposing views and they come to an impasse, right? There's, they come to a certain point where they just fundamentally can't agree on a certain point. And that's where the conversation kind of dilutes. Rather than take a step back at this point and identify that like there's a fundamental misunderstanding that is preventing us from moving this conversation forward, and they keep trying to push it, right? You know,
Exactly.
opposed to taking a step back and being like, well, what the is this cart? You know, oh, there's a rock. Move the rock before we can keep it.
Well, that's because there's blinders on there, right?
Yeah, there's something
you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear my opinion. You never did. You just wanted me to hear you.
You want to, you had this on your chest.
Offended.
You wanted to get this off your chest.
You know?
So this is your
So
opportunity.
that's just, it is what it is. I honestly, I don't have these type of conversations with most people.
I don't waste my breath because I know that you don't want to hear what I had to say. You just wanted to say what you had to say out loud and expected I was going to nod to it, but I won't. So we're just not going to have the conversation from the jump. Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Okay. You keep that over there, please.
Well, that's why many times what I've resorted to is rather than explaining my point of view, I want them to explain theirs better. I want them to clarify it. I want them to tell me like where this is coming from, what's their intent in saying it or stating it. You know, much like those like Blue Lives Matter posts, certain things along those lines. I'm like, why are you posting that? What's the intent behind this? And what's the motivation? This is not something you would have done months ago, you know?
Correct.
Awesome question. Like, have somebody explain themselves better of the why. At least trying to understand why. Like, Rocco's really good about that. And like,
Yeah, for sure, he is.
That's good dialogue. That's why. Like, I'm open to hear what you have to say. Just tell me. Don't come at me just because I say something different. Like, just explain it. I just wanted to hear what you had to say. I might not agree.
It's a conversation.
Like,
well, I think
I hear you. But I hear you.
The problem with
people
race is that
But
it's
is
so
that, do you guys feel like that's a lost art, the art of conversation, just in general?
Yes.
Definitely.
We don't live in the day and age where people actually have face-to-face conversations, and I feel like those are different because you can see the emotion in someone's face. You can see like the mannerisms, so you don't misconstrue what they're saying. People just type these days. Yeah. So just because I typed it a certain way, you might have thought I was yelling at you.
So much can be
or
lost
coming at you like, well, I said this, but really that's not what I was doing. And then everyone, all the emotions change. So that's what
Ahmaud just went through that recently with somebody misinterpreting, wrote what you wrote to them, right?
Yes, exactly.
That was a lot.
People don't know I'm crazy.
I was like, what?
Don't let the cute face fool you, okay?
I'm dying because I was there from the first, when she first said what she said to the people, and then for that to have been the end result, I was like, what? Didn't you say it?
I understood it because like even with text messages, right? Like if you text somebody, you could totally mean something else, but if they're in some type of mood or whatever, they're gonna take it the way they want to take it, right?
Exactly. And that's perception. It goes back to perception. And it's a hard concept to grasp because sometimes other people's observations they lack common sense in their view.
Common sense is not very common.
Mindfulness as well, to know how
you're
receiving this message, and is it or is it your current state, your current mood, or whatever.
Self-awareness.
Correct. And I think that's something that we lack in the society in general. We do not teach our children to see past that point. And I don't know if it's just education or it's education, it's parenting. And then like that drives it, it drills it down, it drills it back to just even your parents and how your parents were taught. And then the back and back and back, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that some people lack just the basic fundamentals of being a human being, right? And then like, you also have to understand that not everyone is on the same level of understanding as you are. And I think a lot of people miss that point. You can't just expect everyone to see things the way that you see them. It doesn't work that way. We are all unique individuals. Some of us are like-minded, but like even you see this group of people here, these group of people are all individual contributors to this society. They all have something that not everyone else has. And that's why they're here. Plug. Plug.
Description below.
But understanding just everyone is different, and then you have to give some, like, even though you don't want to, you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. You cannot come into a situation with a judgment already placed in your head, because if you do, you're already losing.
But that's the root of the problem right there. People judge, people judge. Like, the judgment is already there. So no matter what you do, especially for a Black man, you're judged. You know, how things are structured, how the world is. I'm judged. Like, I'm a target. So no matter how big the smile, no matter how clean the clothes, no matter how fresh the cut, you know, I'm still the root of what I am, which is a Black man. So I have strikes against me. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, and that's the change that needs to happen. You know, the replacing the judgment with understanding. You know, replacing the judgment with communication. You know, but it's doing that because up to this point it hasn't happened, which is why the world is how it is. Now it's at war because we did peace, we did the talking, we did the walking, we did all these things to no avail. Nothing has changed. You know, now it's like, go ahead.
Doesn't that bother you. There are people who out there stating like, why did this why are people so outraged? Why are people burning down buildings? Why are people looting? Why are people doing these grievous offenses? But and then they're like, oh, peace is the better option. One thing that kind of just, you know, hit me in the wrong spot was a lot of Hawaiian people were saying that let us show you how to protest. And they don't understand that we have been peaceful. I think that most Black folks, comment down below if you've dealt with something like this. We know entering into a building or a job or a restaurant that we have to act a certain way, or we're going to be looked at as just those blanks.
You got to put your whole suit on, like on top of the physical suit with, you know, the suit and tie. You got to put on your,
just sit and talk the way
you got to change your vocabulary.
Right,
you got to change everything. You can't be you. You can't walk in there as Chris. I can't walk in there like that. I got to walk in there as, you know, Mr. Hartley. I got to walk in there as and even that's not enough. You know, it's
exactly. It's always putting on a show for someone else, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate because a lot of people like to emulate our culture. And I'm not trying to boast this here because I feel we're all one. I love the Asian culture. I love the Mexican culture. I love everyone. Like, everybody has their value, their uniqueness, and I enjoy it. Okay? But what I'm saying is there has to be a level of understanding of what people go through. We have been peaceful for a very long time. I think all of us can agree that I think Black African Americans, excuse me, we are very forgiving. We are very kind. People misconstrue that because of our loudness, because my voice can project. That's why. And I'm very, like, we're very direct, or we're very expressive people. Like, we just can't help it. We like to have fun. We're expressive. We might, like, I might not be able to hold my face sometimes if you say something stupid, like,
exactly. I think that's all of us, though.
You know,
that's your ass look. Yeah,
that's a lot of people, though.
I know, but it's different when it comes to us. I don't know why. It's so weird, but it's like people don't know how to respond. But we always have to come down to their level of understanding instead of sometimes being able to reach up, just like in your upper management and the lower. Right? You have to manage up and you manage down. And that's the same way you should look at other cultures, people who are different than you, people who don't see things the same way. You just kind of like, oh, no, that's interesting. That's how y'all rock. That's cool. I can understand that. And I think I don't know if that's something, because we are more local Black women, that is normal for us, because there's not very many, you know, different cultures and things like that. So maybe that goes above certain people's head, but that's how we roll as far as our conversation, as far as our engagement with other human beings. I'm not going to judge you. I don't even think of people in that way. First, you have to capture my attention, because that's hard in the first place. Like, I don't be paying attention to nothing, okay? You have to attract my attention in some way where I'm like, oh, wow, this person has value, or I love what they're saying. I love their outlook on life, or I love how they speak. I love the way that they talk about a topic or a subject, and like how passionate they are. Those are the things that I see in human beings. Like, and I see a lack of that, and I know I'm different, but I know they're similar people, as you can see, right? How do you change that? How do you fix that part? What do we do? How do you get people to understand that, okay, there are so many different cultures in the world, right? And we're not going to go just like your culture, the way you do things, the way you live is not the only way to live. It's not. It's not the only way to live. It's okay though. But that's okay. How do we teach that in all the different realms?
I know you're trying to speak like to a more general and all inclusiveness, but part of the current conversation is that there is a specific vilification of Black people in America.
Yes.
Is that it's not only that they're not necessarily accepted, but that there's a certain bias that's inherently systemically against them, that's working against them.
Right.
You know,
Definitely.
it would be different than just being ignored completely or secluded. It's not that you're just secluded or, you know, it's that you're forcibly being pushed to a certain stereotype.
Yes.
And some of the things that Chris was saying earlier about like having to put that suit on that suit too, reminded me of another thing I've been thinking about recently as far as this conversation goes with like mental health and conditioning within, right? And I watched the—
That's a whole topic within the show.
The Rayshard—
Rocco, it's on you.
Oh,
And we're back.
so I was gonna bring up the video for the Rayshard books and how it made me think about mental issues within, you know, Black America or certain conditioning that's gone on.
Yeah.
So it's a 40-minute cam video of the initial officer. And the whole time, he is very calm and compliant to what the officers are asking, doing, saying. But there was also a certain amount of disorientation. I don't know if it had to do with drugs or the alcohol. He was obviously drinking. But there were points when they were asking him where he was, where he didn't know where the fuck he was. He was saying, "I'm here," and he was completely not there, you know?
Are you talking about, can I say something? You're talking about the guy that was asleep in the drive-thru.
The Wendy's,
That's
right?
the Wendy's situation.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that, like, even after the cop got him to pull out of the Wendy's line into a parking spot, during that, when he came back to talk to him and stuff, he completely forgot the cop had just asked him to do that moments before. Forgot or unaware or whatever was going on. And so that whole time, then the DUI cop comes and they're giving him the test and all this stuff. And, you know, there's still some misunderstanding and disorientation. His story is not consistent as far as what he was drinking, how much he had to drink, what he was doing in that line, you know, because basically he had come from getting food and now he's getting food again. It was weird. But the bigger picture I saw is that the man was, like I said, compliant of everything the officers were asking. But at the point that they started to arrest him, there was something that triggered in him that he had to get away. There was some like fight or flight response that caused this altercation. And the reason I wanted to watch this video is because I saw a lot of people posting that, you know, a white man would have never been shot in that situation. And I wanted to question that because I'm like, he pointed the taser at the cops, and I think regardless of race, you're going to get shot in that situation. And that's more a reflection of police brutality and the handling of that situation than necessarily race.
You said what's your opinion? I'm sorry?
Is that any person in that situation that would fight off a cop, take their taser and then point it at them, even if they were running away, that cop is going to shoot at them and most likely kill them.
Regardless of race.
Regardless of race. Got
Right.
it. Can I enter?
Yeah.
So this is a little soft subject for me because I followed this all the way through. It's not soft, and I understand your point, but for me as a civilian, if I was a cop and that same scenario happened to me, first it wouldn't have got to that point because first,
something wrong with him.
He was asleep in the drive-thru.
But
wait, let me get this out because this really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
It grinds my gears because in that situation, it shouldn't have been I'm not coming home to my family situation.
Exactly.
We have all been so up that we couldn't move and we stopped the car and we fell asleep somewhere. So instead of the cop having a little level of humanity, common decency for a human being, you're in a position where you don't even know what's going on. Let me finish because this is why I'm upset about it. But then I also understand. So the fact that that cop, all those cops, couldn't just write this man off as he is fucked up.
We just take him home. That's my thing. Just take him home.
That's it.
No, and it's funny.
He is fucked up. No
Before the
matter
cop
what
went
color
there,
he is, I would hope
Man,
that if I
it's
was in a
too
situation
many
like that,
times.
that
Like,
I got that a cop wouldn't end up shooting me.
exactly.
Because he probably doesn't even remember what happened today. Just like we all have had those moments.
My thing is that.
But he's
right
dead,
now,
so he couldn't even have woken up
but
and
that's the
remembered
thing.
if he
And
wanted to.
that's the problem. It's the problem is that it's too many times with as a black person, your interactions with the cop, the likelihood of it turning into violence or escalating is it's up there. And
It's
like she just said,
confrontational
you know, that shouldn't have been I don't go home to my family situation.
To Rocco's point, like
That
the
shouldn't
whole police
No.
brutality period, right? So not saying that
All of it.
how they handled it was, but that's why the whole ask for the police reform, I believe, is really important, because like these kind of things, to Rocco's point, right? Yes, he was black, but how do you know like it's not happening to everybody, right? These people feel so entitled. I feel like I can handle the situation like this because I can, right? We know how it should have been
Officer,
handled.
you're trained to handle situations, so that's
It
the thing.
it boils down to lack of training.
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, you should.
This is not, I'm not upset because he was black. I'm not upset because he was black.
Of course not. I mean, because
Like in any
like
way,
Rocco
shape, or
said,
form.
Rocco isn't wrong with what he
I
said.
am upset that that cop did not just be like, oh, I'm going to switch on my human part. You know, I'm going to take my suit off, my uniform, and be like, he is jacked up. He doesn't even know what's going on right now.
well, and
So why would I put him in a position or make him feel threatened in a way that he would do some crazy like that?
I don't think
Because he was wrong as fuck. He was wrong. He should have never grabbed that taser. But
they were.
Exactly. So that's that.
He didn't even know what was going on.
Said,
like he
with that
wasn't
being
even
said,
there.
and how
He
and
was
how
not.
fast
He
things
was
played
not
out.
mentally there.
But again, but that's the thing, because and just like Rocco was saying, you know, with any person in that situation,
They would have died.
How fast it
Straight up.
escalated,
Straight up.
you know, that's crazy. But again, there was
But
more
the
than one
fact that it
officer
got there,
Exactly.
the fact that it got there is just crazy to me. It's
I
crazy.
agree.
Like, what if that was your dad or your brother or something?
I mean, that
out
could have
there
been me,
jacked
right?
up,
It could
fell
have been any
trying to
any
get
of
some
us.
food
So,
at McDonald's.
right.
You know what I mean? And then didn't
Right.
come home because he was just drunk. Because he was drunk and he made bad choices. He really did. Because he shouldn't have been driving first. And like, if he was going to get, he should have parked in a parking spot. They probably would have still because he's a black man in a car. And that's another topic. But the fact that he was asleep in that position lets you know where he was. Like, he was not capable of even coming to an understanding of what was going around him. It kept going in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And so at some point in that conversation, that police officer should have triggered, oh, I need to handle this with care because he doesn't even know what's going on right now. He has no idea. He has no clue what's going on right now.
Let's say the response was appropriate. I mean, what he did is illegal, and is most likely, I don't know the law, an arrestable offense, right? So
Correct.
Right. He was getting arrested, is like I said, is when the tone changed, where all of a sudden this person who was being completely compliant and respectful, despite being so disoriented, all of a sudden needed.
It was a trigger. Yeah, he triggered.
Yeah, he triggered. They triggered him.
Those cuffs triggered. Yeah.
It triggered him, and I can't say it's because he's black. I don't think that's it. It just kind of triggered him.
We don't know his life. We don't know what he's experienced.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Differently. I mean, they like you were saying, there should have been a point in recognizing that we can escalate this to us. We still have to do our job. We still have to try to arrest him at least.
Correct.
But they already had his ID. The car was there. Why did they have to fight him and restrain him and make sure they
Correct.
Why?
My thing is, couldn't it have been a conversation of, hey, let me take you home, but we're going to the police station? He could have just said that. I think that would have been, because he was being so compliant. He could have been like, hey,
Well, I mean,
man,
that's asking an
let me
officer to
take
go
you,
beyond
let me
yourself.
take you
It's
home.
a great moment at that point, though.
Yeah. But once you get in the car, they
Man.
can't do nothing to you.
Man,
You know
look,
what I'm saying? And he was so fucked
about
up, he
that.
probably
I
would have fell asleep.
So once you get in the car, they can't do nothing.
No, I'm talking
Officer
about
gonna give you
him.
a ride
I'm
home,
talking
man.
about
They're
the
gonna
guy.
take your ass to jail.
The drunk
Why
man.
they trying to do
The
that?
drunk man, he can't do anything because there's a blockade, right, between you. He didn't have to put the handcuffs on it. He could have been like, hey, man, get in the car. Let me take you home. Where do you live? He could have played that all the way through to the end, like you would handle any other drunk person. Like you would handle any other drunk person. Like, all right, you tell them whatever you got to tell them to get them in that car. Like your drunk friends, like when you were out in the club and they were getting all crazy and hype and they're all fucked and they can't walk no more and they're trying to run off and do some crazy shit. What did you do? Hey, you tell them exactly what they want to hear to get in the car so you can get this drunk person home. You know, so I just expect that level of decency for somebody who says they're protecting me. That's it. And
Again,
it has
like you said, it comes down to
race.
training.
It has everything to do with your intention and who you are as a human being. And if you don't have that level of caring for humans, why are you a cop? Because that's what it's for. That's like really, I'm putting my life on the line for you because I care about humans so much that I would risk my life every day for you. I would risk my life every day for you. So how did that happen?
Well,
It's disgusting. Like, it really makes me sad that there are people out here on this earth that would treat another human being just like that.
Man, I could tell y'all some stories of some experiences I done had with white people, man, that are, you know, all it would do though is just feed into the stereotype though, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, to say that, you know, it's just that what's going on right now and where we at is either we're gonna deal with it or we're gonna go to war. And it's because we've been abused long enough, we've been beat long enough, and we're tired of it. There's too many people dying. We're tired of the attending funeral. We're tired of all of the peace. So I mean, again, but what I will say is, you know, dialogues like this will help further along the progress of, you know, coming to the change. But man, it's going to take a lot of conversations. You know, it's because, man.
Well, but see, why can't it just be that?
What, dialogue?
Why does it not have to be a race? In the end, like just being a human.
It's humans
that cares about other people.
Humans
like
have,
that, like
humans
just a little
have
the basic care.
To be
but racism is like so deeply ingrained into all of this. It's like it's so deeply. It's like it's so deep. Like it's like you would have to literally start over because everything was built on it. So that's what I'm saying. But we haven't gone back. We ain't going back to those 400 years. You know, we're trying to just bury it. You know, but with the technology now, that's why we're seeing all this bullshit. It's been going on. You know, we've been all this been going on.
It's always
you know? Yeah, it's like now I can catch it with my phone. Like I have something that can catch this shit. You know what I mean? Or my friend can catch it for me. You know, and that now it's being brought to the light. You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like we have to start.
I do like that. I like that though. That like it has been happening this whole time. But I like that nowadays it's putting it in your face. Like you can't not see that this is happening. You can't be like, no, that's just people saying like, no, but if I could show you all this proof, like, look, this is another day. This was a couple days after that. This is like, you know, it's more in their face and they have to deal with it. And people always try to deny those things. That's just like the Holocaust and all that. People try to deny that, but you're like, but so did we all just go make these pictures? Did we all just like, I can go there right now and show you some places? Like, are you trying to deny that it happened? You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, addressing
but now it's in your face.
Problems too. I think that we have to, as people that want to support that side, understand a certain expectation of solving that is not going to be something quick. That the expectation has to be this is going to be a stamina race. That this is going to be multi-generational. That the fruits of this labor and this correction in American history and American society is going to be something that keeps to understand is going to happen over the next, what, another 50 years plus? Because you're talking about a 2, 3, 4.
Not this time though. Not this time. It ain't no 50
I don't think
more
it's gonna
years.
die
That's the
down
thing.
as easily as it used to.
We don't have 50 more years. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we done did
Well,
50.
it's
we done,
this generation's not gonna let it die
Yeah.
down because we're in such a
Them and their children.
PC culture. Yeah, we're in a very PC culture, and these kids these days aren't with you. What is it like? Making them be something they don't want to be. Like you're not going to acknowledge me as this because that's not what I want.
Yeah.
You can't
force them to identify. Yeah.
I don't want it. If I want to identify as a curtain, I'm a curtain, and you ain't gonna tell me nothing. And everyone, like, and I do like that. So I don't think it's gonna fade off because back in the day, like, like I've said before, like the momentum for these things builds up, and then they throw us little bones, and then everyone kind of backs off of it until something crazy happens again. Even though it never stopped being crazy, they just took that bit and they ran with it. Then the uproar comes again. They throw us a little bit again. It dies down. But I don't think the kids, the generation, that's not enough. No, that's not enough for them because why are we still talking about it? And this has been going on for years. Like, why is it still conversation?
Why is it a thing?
I'm sorry. If I can go out and say I want to be a man today, I should be able to be black on a Friday. Just saying.
Hello.
I'm just saying.
Hello. Hello.
That's just crazy.
Well,
crazy.
It's exhausting. It's saddening, honestly. Like, I don't look at human beings that way. So, like, it's hard for me to see other people treat others in that way. Just period.
Well, one thing that's going to have to happen, too, is that within your own community, we as Black people, I'll say, are not united. We have so much. We're all out here trying to be like, telling everyone else, accept us, this is us, let us be us. But like, there's a lot going on. We turn on each other harder than anybody.
And that's why I wanted to bring up.
But you're right. You're right.
For the most part, from what I've seen,
I'm a loyal girl.
Not everybody.
But
I didn't say you in particular. I'm just saying, and it's a thing.
No, I get what you're saying.
We are the quickest to tear each other.
All cultures do that.
But I know, but a lot of
people don't want to.
I will say though.
Well,
from growing
no
up
other culture
here,
is in the position
the Asian community. That's why you see how, we grew up here. There's a lot of Asian people. We're in the culture. We know about it. They will help their own before they help someone else, just off of these are my people and I want to see us be great. Black people don't do that. They don't support each other like that. They don't help us.
Well, we do now. We do.
Not. We are starting to because everyone's trying to push it. But in real life, that they don't be supporting you like they support other people. They
result of the system.
There's a lot of disconnect. And how can we project wanting everyone else to be united with us when we're not all the way united with ourselves?
We as a people are not satisfied. I feel it's like
but why
being valid as a human being.
Well,
I understand
what that sounds like.
I understand that, but that is what it boils down to, the mental health issues in our community. Us needing that approval. Why do you think that? It's because the only thing that we were taught to do is to make sure we smile for the white man. Make sure you say it in the right way. Because if you talk like that, they are not going to accept you. Okay, but you're not going to be able to do that. So that's what comes down to.
We know that, and we as a people need to learn to stop doing that.
Yes.
But again,
it comes to them. We shouldn't have to expect other people to treat us like normal human beings just because we're all humans. But we as people do need to work on ourselves too.
Yes.
Because the stronger we are together, the more we can actually approach people with look, this is what it is.
Yes.
You know, we
But, I
can't,
mean,
because
but,
they see that.
but
Yeah.
They
what you have
see
to
the
also
disconnect in the community.
Yes.
And they see
They
that
take advantage
they
of
see
it.
that, well, if I sprinkle this over there, they'll just start attacking each other,
Yeah.
and then it'll fade off of us. That's something that has to stop happening for all of this to like keep meaning something, to actually move forward. That is something that holds it back. That's like the, you know, light skin, dark skin. We got all that. I know that's in a lot of different cultures.
I don't think
That's a problem too.
but I don't even think that a lot of, because people like, you know, people in the mainland don't have our same perspective, right? Because they're not there's most people are not in a dynamic where there's so many different cultures, right? So they don't understand that not only in our community is that relevant. It's definitely relevant in multiple different cultures, and that's something that you need to educate yourself on, because even Koreans, Japanese, they discriminate against each other because of their skin color. The fairer you are, the
Not
more
even the
beautiful
race.
you are.
But doesn't
You know
that
what
just
I mean?
reconfirm how deep racism is? Like the
But
fact
that's
that
what I'm
it's
saying. It's hatred of us, of self. It's hatred of you.
Man. Yeah, I
And
agree.
so
Yeah.
how do you fix that? By education, by better creating children and adults in this world that are more educated and more well-rounded. And so how do you do that?
So I was
That's
watching,
why.
I was
Go all the way back to the root.
Jon Stewart on The Breakfast Club a little bit before this, and he was making an argument.
Shout out to the Breakfast Club. We love you. Woo.
Yeah, it was really good, and it sounded like he stayed twice as long as he originally intended. It's a good conversation to watch. But one of his points in arguing for equality for Black Americans is that you can't argue for equality without equity. Is that there's a certain disenfranchisement as far as ownership goes within the Black community, which puts them at a lesser bargaining position when doing that politically or within business.
Exactly.
Talks about Black-owned banks, stuff like that, and there has to be a certain focus on giving more ownership or something like that to build equity for Black America, so that they can then have a stronger pedestal to make their argument for.
Correct.
But why does it have to be Black America? Why can't it just be America? It's just because just within that, we're a category within a category. I mean, why can't we just all be? I mean, because we're all one, right?
Well,
I mean,
that shows what you just highlighted.
like a
Yeah.
no, I'm not to speak on, or but I'm just saying overall, it's because it's like we're a sub.
iPad's hating on us.
But no, it's like we're literally fighting to be just a legitimate category as Black America within America, because like every other nationality that is here has none of the problems that we are experiencing.
I wouldn't say none.
I wouldn't say none, but I'll say
Okay.
it might not be as off.
It's not as rooted.
I would.
It's not as rooted.
More
That's all I'll
conditions.
say.
The system,
Indigenous people of America who are met with genocide rather than slavery.
That's They tried to wipe them out.
They're gone.
I'm
This
speaking
they're
of here
gone.
within America.
Genocide of American
Because like we were brought here. Like that,
backs of
I'm not, not discrediting the Holocaust or any of the other, any of that. I'm just speaking on right here. I'm talking about these 50 states. Like, nothing has transpired to any other race that has happened to us. Like nothing, nowhere close. Nothing that can
At least they died quick.
Well, and then they were subjected to a reservation.
That's fucked up, but I'm serious.
They were subjected to what?
Reservations.
Yes.
Yeah, they got some.
And,
Yeah, but so this is this comes to the topic of reparations in the Black culture. Not that I want to highlight this topic or spend
they
too much
spoke
time.
about that in the Breakfast Club. Definitely.
Your thing with that was what? Is there an
How you gonna
actual
bargain me?
price that you could put on 400 years of slavery? But Native people said you could put a price.
They said they
They
can't.
definitely
You
took a
could put
price.
$1
Well,
on
but
it.
what they did with the land, though, they, with the whole I don't know, I feel like that sounds with the building casinos and stuff. They were like, okay, yeah, you give us this land, we're gonna take all your money.
Yeah.
Something
Good.
about Rushmore money.
We're Indian too, so don't think that we're haters. Blackfoot Indians.
Nobody was hating.
Just saying. I'm just throwing it out there that we're Indian.
No,
Okay.
this is the conversation right now, but I want to keep that in the back of my head during the conversation, because that has to be another step as well in rectifying the sins of this country and progressing as a society together.
But that's like what he said by like, if it was some type of reparation, it's helping to build the equity behind the Black, like they did give them land and all that. Not that that makes up for anything. No,
but
I don't think. I don't think there's a price you can put on 400 and.
So, but they gave us land and took it away. They found a way to strip it away from us.
No, they actively terrorized you.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
So they actively put people in debt.
They hid
on a yearly basis so that they could keep us down. Has been.
I was about to say poverty is a huge issue. I think that stems with a lot of problems that our country has is poverty. That's the bottom line. I mean, if you don't have anything, what do you have to lose and where do you go from there?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why part of white America is now supporting the Black Lives Movement, is because now they're just as poor and
exactly.
shit. You know, Simone, there was
Correct.
A moment after the Ahmaud, I forget his last name, the jogger situation where that guy got killed, and we got into the poverty discussion. And for the longest time when I was younger, I always thought that racism wasn't as big of a problem in the U.S. It was income inequality. And when I had brought that subject up back to you, and there was a certain passion behind, like, no, what happened to him is fucked up. That has nothing to do with this. Like, racism is a problem. And I began to reflect upon that, and it made me think that the extreme poverty that exists and why income inequality is a problem, does that have roots in racism? Because
it does. It's written. There are documents.
The civil rights movement, the focus became upon a war against the poor in a certain manner, and that focus was because the majority of the poor at the time were Black Americans. You know, and they were the elite class, and those with power were willing to give up, sacrifice a couple white people to make sure that they maintain their superiority over the Black people.
That's what humans like to do.
Ding, 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 ding. Can we hit a bell? Can we hit a bell? Can we like,
something like we'll
edit that in.
The boxing, the champ is here.
So even the idea of this income inequality and those at the top reaching for more and more power has roots within that systemic racism in our country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why when you bring up certain people who are so rooted in their white identity where they take offense to this kind of thing, they're like, well, what about me? What about the struggles I've gone through? It's like, the reason you're going through those struggles is because of this aggression against these people. And you need to stand behind them in order to get that.
So everyone, you know what?
We're gonna have to do this again.
We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
Don't you enjoy this here? Weren't you able to sit and relax? You don't even have to watch your screen, and I'm sure you were engaged. So we'll come back next week. We'll do this we're gonna post this every week, okay? And I hope you enjoyed our content. Let me close with this. If every day you wake up to not only want to be better and do something today to contribute to society in the way that you see it, because we can't make you see it in any other way. The way you see it, do something good in that way. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed, everyone. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, babe. Thank you, Rocco, for joining us today.
I'm gonna thank you. Wow, I'm just nobody.
Look, you already
know you get love, sis.
So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for another tea time with
The crew.
with us.
With us. It's us.
We'll get it together.
Right.
So hope you enjoyed our video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back next week for you.
Ring that bell.